Hello, welcome back to another day in the arena, and happy Halloween for young CGB. Here we go. First of all, some house cleaning. Wizards of the Coast did fix the sponsorship thing. The gems are gone. The packs are gone. Unfortunately, as I said in another video, they took one of our packs that we earned this week. I asked them to take 60. They took 61. Now they steal from young CGB. Just kidding, of course. Today's quest, 20 white or black spells. Let's re-roll, try to get something higher. 750 for red or white spells. We haven't revisited the Boros squad in a while. I know I delete some of these old Boros decks. And let's see what we can make with our current collection in Boros specifically. So there's always the go wide, gain some life deck. The History of Benalia almost certainly will be involved, and whether or not we can really play a Boros deck using the mentor ability, I just don't think we're going to turn out to have enough mentor creatures. So I think that having heroic reinforcements in the deck still dictates that we want some kind of fierce aggro strategy. We also have a Justice Strike and an Aurelia now, along with a Swiftblade Vindicator that can get in there. But 3 heroic reinforcements, I think, are still the card we can count on in the deck. So I'm going to launch that first, and then add some of these other sweet Boros cards, Response Resurgence being one of them. I'm not a fan of the Guild Mage. The Deafening Clarion is very interesting, as we don't want to kill our own creatures, but sometimes gaining lifelink can be a big deal, and sometimes we can set up with it. I'll probably end up taking it out, but just for right now, we may want some 2-drops. This does have utility, I guess. I don't think it's a very, very good card. Having 3 Boros Challengers is nice, and it actually makes it so playing some creatures with 1 power might not be the worst thing ever. We probably want to avoid things that are too expensive, but a Banefire or 2 could be a strong finisher. We actually have a good amount of 5-drops with Siege Gang Commander and Demanding Dragon and Charging Monster Sword, but right now I'm going to grab Siege Gang, Rekindling Phoenix, and Experimental Frenzy. For an aggressive deck, Experimental Frenzy is a pretty great card to have access to. Fight with Fire, it's a good card. I just don't think it's right in this particular deck. Lightning Strike, however, we might want a couple of those, but probably even more so we want Shock. We already have Justice Strike, Response Resurgence. I'll add them for now, but we're probably going to trim it. There's the Shocks. And with the token theme, what is up with my voice? Excuse me. So I've been doing some much longer streams because I'm featured by Wizards of the Coast this week. That's where that sponsorship came from. And one of the things that's been going on, I think it's taking a toll on my voice, so bear with me. But we'll get the Instigators in there, and the Bannerets might be good enough to make the cut. We'll see about that. I don't know. I don't think Lava Runner is right for this deck without Wizard synergy, but Loxodon could be very good with a bunch of creatures. It doesn't just have to go in Selesnya tokens. Shalai is an interesting card. It is an angel. We don't have a ton of it. We don't really have any angel synergy without Lyra in our deck at all. We don't have a Lyra in our collection at this time. So I think that Shalai can stay on the bench. Ajani pumping our tokens sounds great. The War Leader makes tokens, but I think I've got enough 4s, and I'm going to leave the War Leader on the bench for now. The Resplendent Angel doesn't work with the token theme, but it is a good aggressive creature that flies, which is also important, but this will probably end up being a Militia Bugler deck. That's why I grabbed the Siege Gang Commanders earlier. Militia Bugler can grab anything with power 2 or less, which includes Siege Gang Commander and Aurelia. So we do have some higher end cards that the Bugler can get. We just want to make sure we have plenty of lower end cards for the Bugler to get as well. Running the Stalwart is probably a good idea. The History of Benalias are excellent, even if they're not great with the Bugler. Since they're creatures, the Bugler cannot. Since they're not creatures, the Bugler cannot find them. The Bounty Agent's interesting with the Bugler, and we'll consider it. I've never been a huge fan of the card, since on its most of the time it's a 2/2 creature and not much else. We could also run the Leonin Vanguard or the Healer's Hawk to have something early. And maybe the Healer's Hawk is a good call for the lifelink. And I did say before I like the idea of having some 1-drops because of our mentors. So maybe it's time to give Healer's Hawk a try. Give the Hawk a chance, people. So we've got a ton of cards, and I want very efficient removal spells, so Shock can stay, the Justice Strike can stay. The Response Resurgence has this backside that I'm really interested in trying, and the Defending Clarion is definitely going to kill too many of our own creatures to stay. So that can go. The Banefires, I don't think we're going to have enough mana for those to work out. We don't plan to anyway. We're going to cut the Lightning Strike. The Bounty Agent, sorry, just can't do it. We have plenty of critters though, I think. 27. How many of those can be fetched by the Bugler? Almost all of them. The Resplendent Angel with flying, I think I still want it. The Phoenix has flying, and the Loxodon pumps the creatures, so that's 3 cards that the Bugler can't get. Let's cut the Guild Mage. I still don't think that this is a very good card, and we have plenty of creatures in our 2-drop spot, as you can see here from the blue line representing our creatures. And 64 cards. We can probably trim in here somewhere. I don't think we need 4 Goblin Instigators. Playing that many little goblins is a little crazy. We can probably go to a 3 Shock. I still don't... You definitely don't want more than 1 Banneret. You only want 1 at a time, because pumping both is pretty hard. And I'll also cut one of the Hawks. I could cut a land from the deck, but I want to make sure that I have a good chance of curving out. Let's go into the lands. We do have 2 Memorial to Glories. I don't know exactly when those showed up, but they did. I suppose they can work with this deck. It's too bad because we also, unfortunately, have to run a lot of other tap lands. And running tap lands is not really what you want to do. We at least have a Sacred Foundry there when you're an aggressive deck, but I don't think we have a choice in this case. So how's our red versus our white? About even. A little more white. I was trying to think, do I need to go to 10 white sources with 2 Memorial to Glories, or do I need to trim a plains and add a mountain? We have 1 double red card. It is the Phoenix. Oh, and the Siege Gangs, but that's not until turn 4. So usually having 15 sources is good for that. 12, 13, 14. Yeah, we're light on red. So we've got to turn up the red and down the white. Let's see. If you are looking for exactly how many of each source and color you need, I have pinned a post about that in my Discord, which is a free Discord to join if you're interested in joining the Discord server. All right, let's play our red-white token deck. Let's hope for better luck. I think this version's more aggressive and has a few more rares. Let's hope for better luck than the last time that we played red-white here on the channel. Well, it's a bit slow, but if this were a plains, it would be a much better hand, but I think we still have to keep it. The Stalwarts and the Bannerets, good team. Can be a good team. We'll see. This is where, if this was a Sacred Foundry or a Clifftop Retreat, you'd have such a better aggressive hand than you have. But that's the way it is. That's living on the budget. That's being the free-to-play. The prices we pay, my friends. Island into Opt. Becoming very common. Opt has had a huge resurgence because of Izzet and Spells Matter type effects. Let's go Challenger for the 3 toughness. Can attack through a 2/2 from our opponent should they play one. Like in a Goblin Electromancer. Stalwart could too. Strike kills it. Shock wouldn't have killed it though if they only had a Shock. So you can go 3 mana for a Bugler. I think I like playing more creatures though because we have the Loxodon in our hand. So we'll deploy these 2 dorks. And they can also threaten to mentor next turn if the opponent doesn't stop them. Okay, they strike the Banneret, so they have Banneret fears. All right. Now we'll Bugle. Please have a hit. And we hit a Healer's Hawk. We are truly blessed. Let's start the damage. Opponent has played Opt, Strike, Strike. What else do they play? Do they have a Crackling Drake? They do. So mean. So mean. If we had a removal spell, I'd feel happy, but we don't. All right, bring out the Healer Hawk. Bring out the Sunhome Enforcer. Play the Venerated Loxodon, using all of these to convoke and be a big Loxodon. Great big elephant. And play land. Your turn. If we draw Heroic Reinforcements, it's a lot of damage. That's the big plan. Heroic Reinforcements kill you. More removal. Oh, that stings. So what's the play, do you think? Are we willing to give up one of our creatures to deal 9 damage and gain 3 life? I think being very aggressive is very important. I don't think we'll win this game if we're not. So, let's give it a try. And only one of the Mentor abilities will resolve, just so everybody knows. Our opponent's choosing to block the Flyer Lifelinker. That could turn out to bite them if they can't kill the Stalwarts, because the Memorial to Glory will make a pair of 1/1s that can be pumped by the Stalwarts. So let's see what our opponent can do to further lock down the board. Lightning Strike number 3. And a Lava Coil. They just love their spot burn removal. It's perfect against a deck like ours. Alright, we're really going to need that Heroic Reinforcements, friends. Let's use the Memorial to Glory on their end step to make some 1/1s. We've now drawn 3 lands in a row in a critical part of the game. My soul is aching from it, but I'm going to stay aggressive and try to get my opponent within range where I could kill them with a good draw. For example, right now our attack is lethal if our opponent has nothing. They've already played 4 spot removal spells. How many do you think they have? They might have counter magic. If they had drawn a counter spell in the last 2 turns, they haven't had a chance to play it. Instead, it's Banefire for 1. And yeah, holding 3 mana open is likely for a counter. We're going to find out, though. Yep, they're that good. Well, we could set our opponent to 1. But I don't think that's a wise play. They are that good, my friends. The Banefire does seem like it's desperate. Perhaps it's their last spot removal spell. Second Drake. Not like this. Alright, resolves. They seem to have run low on their spot removals now. Never mind. I'm blown away. Their deck is so perfect against us. Oh, if I had taken that attack, the shock could have won me the game. That's so mean. Just so mean. I think I'm going to hang on to this to the last possible moment, but our opponent right now can likely kill us. I could have won this game if I had been more aggressive, if I had thrown away my Militia Bugler to deal one more point of damage. Alrighty. That one stings. That one stings. Even when everything's going against you, it's important to keep your head. For example, remembering that you have Shock in your deck and not Lightning Strike could have made a big difference. Let's try again. Me and Boros just don't mix very well. Where's my red mana? There you go. No mentor creatures. But it's a curve. It's creature into creature into creature. They're not great creatures. But if our opponent can't put things on the board themselves, they could still do a lot of damage. Bugler to undo a mulligan is nice. Hopefully we get a hit off it. If we don't, it'll be very sad. Oh yay, it's the Wild Growth Walker. Well, I could try to ambush it. I may as well. The opponent may just not block with it, knowing how important the life gain can be in a matchup like this. Please have a hit. Top 4. Nope. Fail. They all go to the bottom. Classic. This is why I just can't play these decks. I tilt too hard when my cards don't work. Our opponent with the Walker draw. Aim to get their 3 life on. Basically ruin our aggro plan. All on its own. Oof. Let's move that and attack with everybody. Alright, there's a block. 5 damage to an attacking or blocking creature, so as soon as it blocks, we can kill it. And now let's see what our opponent does with 4 mana. Is it Chupacabra time? Our last card is a powerful one, at least. But our opponent with a full grip, and I mean 7 cards to none, well, 1 over here. Thrashing Bronto. Alright, well, let's keep the pattern of just removing the blocker and bashing in and hoping it does enough damage at the end of the day. That is how you aggro, is it not? All right, time for Mark to figure out the next play. They couldn't double spell last turn. They only played a Branch Walker and left 2 mana open. Makes it seem like they have a very expensive hand. But like Vivian Reed, what does that do here? You're not going to minus it to kill a Healer Hawk, right? The Militia Bugler would take it out. They use Find. Okay, they're going to try to restart the Explore shenanigans. They might save the Wild Growth Walkers so that they can play it and explore with it on the same turn, and it looks like that's going to be the plan. And they hit a land, which means everything here can go right through it. All right, we draw a Vindicator. And we keep attacking, because that's what the deck does. Down to 6, but without the land for this Aurelia, we're struggling. So I'm sure the play here is a Wild Growth Walker and at least one Explorer creature, maybe two. I think they'd be silly to do anything else. Unless they played their only other Explorer creature, which would be very weird. Can't expect that. So we'll wait, see what the opponent comes up with. What carefully crafted plan. We're still holding the Aurelia. Pumping the Swiftblade Vindicator can be a lot of damage. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that takes away some good attacks. I'm trying to think if we wanted to attack in anyway with our creatures. The block would be here. These would block here and here, I suppose. Our opponent would still have Izzoni and a token. We'd lose this. Yeah, it doesn't seem good. So we gotta keep the Airborne. And the Stalwart. Down to 5. Now, what you gonna do? Can the mighty Healer's Hawk take it home? I think we've had a few draws in. Oh, there's the Chupacabra. It's been waiting, and it's going to pick on the Healer's Hawk, probably. Oh, no? The Stalwart. Interesting. So our opponent still hasn't gained life. Now they have the Walker, but they must not actually have another Explorer creature handy right now. And there's a land, and it's untapped. And let's get in over the top. We could have pumped the Vindicator and gone in with that, but the opponent has enough material to get in the way. So we're just going to send in the Hawk and see if the opponent can remove Aurelia by next turn. And they should probably gain life too, or we might shock them. Ouch. Do you keep Vraska? It can kill the Hawk. It doesn't solve Aurelia. Aurelia's a lot of damage. Do you have another way to solve Aurelia? Perhaps another Chupacabra? No, not yet. When it rains lands, it pours lands, friends. Oh, well, that's good enough for me. Nothing wrong with that slow roll, you might say. It is probably the right timing to see if I'll play anything else based on the Aurelia first. But man, I think I've got to just stay off Boros. I think the deck absolutely hates me. I will give it one more try, but I think I'd be better off in mono red or mono white than in Boros. It's been making me too sad. You gotta know your strengths as a player. Mine are not Boros. Like, here we are again. The mana is here to punish me. And it looks like we get to play mono red. Well, against mono red, I think I want to play shock and just keep them from getting ahead at all. That might not be full mono red. I mean, nah, never mind. This is full mono red. Okay. 2 shocks. And we'll play the land and the Hawk. Our opponent could have a Chain Whirler, but we'll make him have it. Another Steamkin instead. That's probably worse. In fact, both the creatures we just killed, they have more of them. They're doing great. They're doing great at Magic. We'll play our Boros Challenger. I will attack with my Hawk because every life you gain can help. And we'll play a land. I think the Resplendent Angel is going to have to find a way to save me here. Well, there you go. Opponent already with a 3/3 Steamkin. I mean, if they have another shock, I guess I lose my Challenger, but they lose their Lava Runner. And the Challenger wasn't going to challenge the Steamkin anytime soon anyway. Well, that can make some blockers. I just want to draw out whatever my opponent has before I play my Angel. And I want to play it so if I draw another land, I can the very next turn make another Angel. And there's Wizard's Lightning Face, which could have gone after the Angel, so that's good. One of the Goblins will have to take one for the team. Well, we drew a Healer's Hawk, so we'll play it. We'll also play our Resplendent Angel. And we'll play our Mountain, and we'll say go and hope for the best. If the opponent doesn't kill it and we draw a land, the Angel can save us. Another Goblin taking one for the team. And the last card is a Rekindling Phoenix. And we don't draw the land. Brutal. Just brutal. Pro Tour red. And there's a Chain Whirler. Takes out, well, takes out us almost, but we get one more chance. We draw a land, we got a shot. My friends, this is not my day. I guess we can still... We can chump block, go to 1, and try to get the Angel to save us. So if I'm not going to block with the Angel, I'm going to attack with it. I don't think from that point the Angel can really do it, though. Yeah, there you go. 3 straight losses on this particular day in the arena. So we could build a very different Boros deck. Anything aggressive hasn't worked out at all. I do think it's really rough in the meta. We worked on a Boros mid-range deck on my channel the other day, and we've kind of been through this before. I just hoped that the cards that we had unlocked would do better. But clearly that's not going to be the case. We just don't have the cards necessary for the aggro deck. So we'll try more of a mid-rangey control-y type based around planeswalkers and larger threats. And big flyers, big like angels, even though we don't have a lot of the key cards for that either, such as Lyra Dawnbringer. But sometimes you just can't play with big creatures. Doesn't get the job done. Or small creatures, I mean. And the meta seems very nasty to this particular build. Guess we could play a Sarkhan, because we'll probably fit in some dragons. I don't know how many Monstrosaurs we want. Probably more Siege Gang commanders than Monstrosaurs. And some Banefire. And what else is down here in the Boros style? I guess some early 2/3s might be fine. 2/3 bodies are not bad. But we also just have a ton of removal. So we're going to get absolutely pounded by control. Like, that's the price you play. You just can't beat a control deck when you run this much, when you run this style of deck, this all creatures and removal. It's still designed to beat creatures, but it will beat early aggression, or at least give early aggression a hard time, which is about what you were asking for. It's about what you can do. So let's see. Got a lot of 5s. We got 61 cards, so we can cut a monster sword and we're there. We're on 24 lands, but you really can't afford to flood it out, and hopefully all this removal will buy time. Our creature count's very low, so we're probably going to have to end a lot of games with cards like Banefire. And yeah, so Boros mid. Let's try that if our opponents are going to just run us over again and again with 1 or 2 threats. But we'll lose to any kind of a counter deck. It's the bind that Boros is in. If any of you have better Boros lists that you can build with my collection, feel free to post them. I'd love to try it. We'll try this hand. Deck needs a lot more angels though for me to even start feeling nice about it. Well, it's green, so it should be just full of early aggression and creatures to shoot and lack of flyers, so this is probably the matchup we need. Let's go ahead and lightning strike you away, little pelt collector. No other plays, excellent. Seal Away can exile anything of any size, that's why I'd like to save it. Also, this Knight of Autumn could have totally wrecked our Seal Away, so I'm glad that we did things this way. Alright, here's Aurelia. Let's see if the opponent has an answer for that. Looks like they're green-white. Colossal Majesty. This reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. And they have a Knight of Autumn, so that can get them ahead on cards. It's never good to let them get ahead on cards. Let's just turn up the aggression and try to run them over as best we can. Charging Monster Sword is still too big to mentor. Alright, they've got a Vine Mare, they've got a Knight of Autumn. They're going to pass the turn. Probably time for a Johnny to come down and start growing the creatures.
Do not fear, my liege. Stand to look how far you have come.
Let's see, they have 6 toughness, so this would kill both of them. The shock can't save it, so let's just pound away. It demands a block because it is an attack for 11. And the opponent doesn't want to make the choice between losing their creatures and having a Johnny continue to crush them, and voila! Big strong creatures and a few removal spells. The mid-range plan works. Trick or treat, we finally got a treat, and we've got a pack for the end of the week. Deck maybe should just play more War Leaders and Monster Swords, because I don't like the 12 creature thing. I should just get the War Leaders and Monster Swords in here so we're playing enough big threats. Boros Challenger is more of a speed bump than anything else. Alright, Memorial to Glory. Also just a little value land because we have to play too many tap lands anyway. Here comes tokens. And we got a number of 5-drops in this hand. You wouldn't know we only had 12 creatures in the deck. Growing Rites of Itlamok. Look at your top 4, reveal a creature, and put it into your hand. Rest on the bottom at any order. Loxodon. Awesome. We got trouble. We've got trouble. I could shoot down a token and try to keep the Loxodon from making too many big things. If my opponent has any way, though, to make cheap creatures, that Loxodon's going to happen. Am I better off playing the History of Benalia? I guess I need something to fight back with, but we are in so much trouble. Let's attack. The more damage we can do when our opponent plays the Loxodon, the better. So we'll pay 2 life and History of Benalia. So, how many creatures do you have to play? Any creatures that cost 1 or Saproling Migrations are really helpful. Oh, just straight Loxodon. Alright. There's a Response Resurgence, that's pretty good. So we will attack with our creatures. If the Loxodon blocks, we'll Response Resurgence it. And if it doesn't, we do a lot of damage. Alright, no blocks, you take damage. And I will play this tap land and say go. The 5-drop spam will have to commence very soon, so I hope we get to play these this turn, otherwise they might be stranded for some time. Conclave Tribunal. Let's see what it targets. The history. That's interesting because the history is already made 2 creatures. All that's doing is preventing the quick burst of power and toughness. I'd have to feel really strong. I'd have to feel really strongly to make a play that way. And they're not attacking. All right. Well, let's use a shock on this token anyway. Untap Banefire. Well, much as I'd love to pump this and pump a knight, I think we keep attacking. Our opponent's been too scared to block so far. And now they finally go for it. Interesting. A little bipolar. I guess they're finally starting to fear for their life total. But we'll take out their Loxodon. We'll hit them for 4. We'll pass the turn back. They're on a bit of an edge. Their position's not great. And they don't have any kind of a follow-up play. Odd. So we could pump the Challenger and and mentor a Knight, but I think the best thing is to take out this token and to do it even before combat to see if there's a trick or something I'd be walking into, and then attack with what we've got. Both ways get 6 damage through, but this also removes a creature from the equation. And we've got them at 4. All those removal spells paying dividends. Now our opponent with a pair of 1/1s. They can't block everything. We're going to hold back the Banefire till after we get some damage to them. And do they have any instant speed shenanigans? Pride of the Conquerors. That will pump the tokens so that they trade with the Knights, but our opponent goes to 2, and Banefire will, as it does, being Banefire, finish the job. Alright. So the deck's doing good. I don't want to change too much about it, but I am wondering if I can replace cards like the Challengers and maybe the Sarkhan Fireblood, which I've only got like 1 dragon. And I have Planeswalkers and Immortal Sun in the same deck, so I'm a weirdo. So let's get that out of there, and let's get some more powerful stuff into the deck. I don't think that Settle the Wreckage makes a lot of sense either. We got a number of very good cheap removal spells. Response Resurgence probably being the worst one, even though it bailed me out in that game. But I really want to get just a little more oomph into the deck with the War Leaders and up the Monster Sores. I mean, is 7 5-drops too many? Probably. 7's a bit much. Maybe the siege gangs aren't the right play. I don't like my wimpy little challengers too much either. I guess I'll go to 2 of those so that I can have more powerful threats. All right. Let's give it a little more go. I almost want Arcana Encyclopedia, like, to draw cards in this version of the deck. Or treasure maps, just something. Something to help the draws, but I think that would be almost crossing into pure control. It's a really rough hand without enough land. I think I have to mulligan it. Although we could just plan to draw the lands by buying time, and then we have good threats, but it's not like a Johnny can pump anything. Really? Alright. Well, should have kept the first hand, I guess, if I was going to draw my lands in clumps of 5. So mean. Deck is so mean to me. Hey. Let's zap that. Makes a 1/1. I'm gonna do it while they're tapped out. I've run into weird things like a Sure. I know it means I take 1 more damage from the token, but I'm still gonna do it that way. I've run into really weird combat tricks in the arena. Okay. Looks like we're gonna get a full-blown token deck. Got your Thorn Lieutenants ready to go. Got your Sun Pelgroves. There's a Guildgate over there. Maybe they don't have all their lands. But it's probably time for a Loxodon. Oh, Witness. Could still be time for a Loxodon. I see you touching your cards. That's what it means. Card's so good. Alright. I'll play a dragon. You'll probably sacrifice a Witness, but at least we have a 5/5. Ooh. That's scary. They probably just have Flower Flourish and plan to kill me next turn. Yeah, this one's not going to be close. Alright, back to my Dimir control deck as quickly as I can get there. Oh, Boros. It's Hosen Young CGB's rank. But we did complete our quest. I don't know why I'm still doing this to myself. Just punishing myself. Alright. Let's see if we can get a good blue game. Doesn't have a Curious Obsession, or I'd keep it. This is gonna be that kind of day. Alright. Well, we got a second land, so the hand's not that bad. Oh boy. The worst matchup. Well, no blocks though. It can kill the Siren Storm Tamer anytime, but this means I can get in there and draw 2 cards with Chart, of course, which I think is what I want to do much more than the Trickster, as having the right cards is often more important in this deck. There's a Sinister Sabotage because we didn't have enough Wizard's Retorts. Okay, our opponent's gonna let us use this Curious Obsession. The problem with that though is that they still have 2 Firebrands. So the Firebrands can kill the Storm Tamer. I think what I'll do is hold up Merfolk Trickster to ambush the Firebrand. And say go. If I ambush a Firebrand and I counter a Shock or whatever they would play to get my Trickster, alrighty, fine. Interesting. Lava Runner. Sure. Double Lava Runner? Fun. Well, still get to trick them. Dive down. Well, I could play the Exclusion Mage and set them back a minute, or I could play the Curious Obsession, start getting in there. I think that's the play. I've got two ways to counter my opponent's removal spell, Dive Down and Spell Pierce. We don't have evasion for this, but this deck doesn't exactly run a million blockers, and it doesn't want to be blocking anyway. So if they're blocking with creatures, that's almost better. Yep. I suppose a Spell Pierce here is better. Actually, the Sinister Sap, they did tap out. I think we can assume that they're going to miss a land drop again. It's a little risky, but I think the Sabotage is best. But if they do have another land, what if they're just slow rolling a land, right? Then they get to kill the Trickster with a Wizard's Lightning, so... No, let's go ahead and Spell Pierce this. And keep the Dive Down available. Alright, they're coming in. Well, we've drawn plenty of land since keeping a one-lander. And there is a Chart, of course. That's also pretty darn good right now. I could play an Exclusion Mage, but which is pretty good play here, actually. To slow down the damage we're taking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll get to Chart, of course, again in the very, very near future. Let's slow down this onslaught and hold the Dive Down for the Trickster. Dive Down. Can't kill it. However, when my opponent plays a Lava Runner, they'll have a pair of 2/2s to block it, which is not fun. Oh, but we are not doing that at all. They're staying aggressive. I guess the odds of a block working out there are pretty low. There's so many ways that the blue deck can get you from that spot. Even if I didn't have them now, I might draw them. Wow. All right. I'm going to keep the counter magic available to continue protecting the Trickster until our opponent is dead. Yeah, they keep playing lightning bolts, I keep playing counter spells. The redundancy in current standard aggro decks is pretty absurd. You want more counter spells, they want more lightning strikes. And that's enough. There you go. In the battle of the one-land hands, we prevailed. I think one more for the road can be fun. All right, there's the hands. The hands people always seem to have against me. Of course, we don't have Dive Down. We don't have Spell Pierce. Oh, forgive me. Here comes Harold. Hi, Harold. What's up, Harold? Goblin Electromancer. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting show. Let's go ahead and put a Curious Obsession over here. And unblockable, draw card. It's going to need to be a lot of good ones to keep up with a Goblin Electromancer, though, as it reduces the cost of things, and that can be a huge tempo game for our opponent. Radical idea to draw a card. Shock. Here's a dive down. And we'll see if our opponent has another shock. No, not yet. All right, another Curious Obsession. All right, yeah. I guess we'll just try to be absolutely ridiculous. Weird. They could have done that in response to the dive down, and now because they held it, they got me even worse. But how can it ever be the right play to hold it in that spot? So it's like I got super beaten by a line I didn't expect because of a stupid misplay, I think, on the opponent's part. Yeah, good game. Oh man, that's mean. Let's Essence Scatter that. And I think we're a very low percentage to win now. But we'll fight it out. Who knows? I'm just kind of amazed. They could have just shocked in response to the dive down, my creature would be dead. But they hold it and let me untap. And in that case, if I had anything else, any other counter spell, they still would not have killed it. And it's kind of ridiculous. All right. So what do I want to do? I guess I can tap that down and I prevent 5 damage. I don't think that ambushing the Electromancer is good enough here. So yeah, we'll just take away that haste ability you just gained. And all other abilities for that matter. Too bad I don't have enough to block and kill it. All right, let's go. Chart of course. None of those are Tempest Shin. Feeling like the game hates me today. But you see the good and the bad here on the Young CGB. Absolutely every single game brought to you from the free-to-play series. I'll always have that red deck, and they're always the nemesis. Yep, that's gonna be more than too much with another Drake here. Yep, that's enough. I'm gonna end the video. Clearly the world isn't going to, I don't know. Enough complaining, right? Don't be salty. We still get to play the best game in the world. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies for if it sounds like I'm whining too much. I'll knock it off. I've played a lot of Magic, not to make too many excuses, just hopefully you can walk a mile in my shoes. I've played so much Magic this week. I've been doing extra long streams as part of the sponsored content and still trying to get the YouTube videos made. As you probably know from watching an earlier one, I recorded poorly and had to re-record, which was quite the tilt. So I'm asking for your patience, and I can't wait to get back to slamming and smashing people. And crafting days tomorrow. So tomorrow, November 1st, we will see what new cards we can open and what we get from our packs and how to make our decks better. Thank you all very much for watching. The happiest of Halloweens to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.